Today we're working with an appliance that a lot of you probably got for the Christmas holidays or maybe getting for the next Christmas holidays. It's an air fryer, and there's a lot of hype about them, so we're going to try to sort through what's real, what's not. Bottom line is it's going to be up to you whether it cooks the way you want it to. So I'm going to prepare a recipe of air fried asparagus. So I've got about, they make small amounts, so this is a right size for a lot of them. There's a lot of variation in size, but for the one I've got, this will be fine. I've got about 1.5 cups of fresh asparagus. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of oil. Different machines work differently. Different people do it different ways. The oil does add flavor to it, though, so I would recommend that you add a little bit to it in order to get some more taste developed. Some don't recommend adding any, and that works fine with meats or products that have been commercially prepared to be fried or oven fried. But for this kind of thing, you want a little bit more flavor when you're working with fresh vegetables. I'm also going to add just a little bit of salt to it. You can always add more later, so I'm just going to add a tad. Most of the machines need to be preheated when you're going to do this. So this one has already been preheated and in fact is counting down. With about this amount and this particular machine, you're going to probably take somewhere around 6 minutes. If you increase the amount that you use, that time might go up to 9 minutes or it might go up to 10. The goal is to try and get it into the basket or however it's container you have in one layer. So the more layers you have or the fuller it is, the closer it comes to full. Because it's going to be overlapping, that means you're going to have to come in every 4 to 6 minutes and shake the basket, which just means to do this so that you rearrange the vegetable that's in there so that the food continues to cook without being smothered by someone else, another piece, which is going to prevent it from being crispy. I'm going to close it up. And this one is going to restart itself and continue its countdown. Whether we need to add more time to this, we'll see how they look when they're done. Advantages to this one, or this kind of machine, is they do tend to use less fat. They work terrific with foods that are designed commercially to go into an oven for frying or either oven frying or regular deep fat frying. And if you're looking at deep fat frying or even pan frying as an alternative, these will use less fat in them and you'll get a more healthful product. However, you're still using commercially prepared foods, which are going to be higher in sodium and probably higher than fat than you might be able to get if you started from scratch. So that's what they are ideally designed for. Is that the way you cook? If so, this may be a good choice for you. If not, then you're going to have to look at some other alternatives as far as what other things can it do. A disadvantage to these machines is that, as you can see, it's fairly large. So you want to look and see, I'm going to have this on my counter in all probability because it's heavy. It's big. Do I want to dedicate that much counter space to it? Will I use it often enough? The answer to that one is borrow somebody's and see if you like it. They do have some safety features built into them. As you can see, when I pulled the basket out, there was an inner basket in it. It's latched in there with this apparatus right here, and I'm going to take it out and shake it. So you can see a little bit, it's starting to sizzle. The goal here is to get them dark, get them a little bit crispy on the outside. When I want to take it out of the basket, I'll flip that up and push that button down. Otherwise, the basket is always going to stay in. Otherwise, when I lifted it up, the whole thing would be moving. Another disadvantage to these, if you do a lot of frying, breading for okra or breading for zucchini, that kind of thing, the breading does not adhere as well when you're cooking in an air fryer. So you may need to play around with the breading, adding some Parmesan cheese bits to the breadcrumbs so that the cheese melts and helps it adhere. There are some of these that actually have a device that stirs the food, and if you've got one of those, then the breading is going to be knocked off by the circulation of the wire that actually stirs the food for you. So again, pluses, minuses. If you have a preference for oven roasted food, the vegetables that we're going to get here are going to be very similar to that. We still had to shake it. We would still shake or stir something in an oven if you were roasting it, but the flavors are very, very comparable, at least in my mind. This may be a little bit crispier because it has a basket and the air gets all the way around it. You could accomplish the same thing by oven roasting on a rack, however. So if you don't want to invest in something else, you can still do a lot of the things that these do, I guess is the bottom line. They're interesting, they're kind of fun, and let's see how our vegetables are doing. I don't think they're quite done yet, but let's go ahead and pull them out. And you can see what we're getting here. It's hot, it's starting to crisp, and we'll take them on out and see if we can get them all the way out. Oh yeah, nice sizzle. There you go. That's air fried asparagus or air fryer asparagus. Give it a try if you've got one. Try to branch out beyond what you're doing with chicken nuggets and frozen French fries. I think if you do so, I think you're going to find that they have a lot of uses that you may not have anticipated, and you probably are going to like the vegetables that are coming out of them. For Oklahoma Gardening, this is Barbara Brown.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.